The
you so
Wise Witch of
much.
Orkney. And do you know what I was so excited to see it because I remember when we first met, and I think it was 2017, and we met.
Can I talk to you about my book, The Wise Witch of Orkney? She was like, oh, I've just put it on the shelf. It was already there, like 3 copies
Oh, that's so
facing
good.
outwards, which apparently that's the thing. If they put it like not that way
That
on, but
that no,
way
that is a thing.
a wise woman who lives in Orkney, and she is summoned to care for the pregnant Queen Anna at court in Edinburgh. But Elspet refuses, so she is not interested at all. She just wants to have a quiet life, living at home. She's worked very hard to not have to do anything like that. But she is then accused of witchcraft by the Earl of Orkney, who is this horrible, tyrannical ruler.
But some people, they'll read and be like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So Anna, what's the most random fact you now know because of this book?
So I thought that was quite a cool fact.
Oh, this is one of my favourite questions to ask. Anna Caig, welcome to the Conversation Coffee Break.
Thank you for having me, lovely.
Can I say, I am so happy to have you here. And I'm so happy because I was telling you before we started officially recording that I had a delivery this morning. And I'm going to show it up because obviously this will be on YouTube. And I've got Anna's book, which is out on Thursday. Well, out today because this will be released on publication day. So,
Thank
The
you
Wise
so
Witch of
much.
Orkney. And do you know what I was so excited to see it because I remember when we first met, and I think it was 2017, and we met at CrimeFest, and I was thinking to myself, back then in 2017, when someone asked me what I did, I didn't even say writer.
Yeah.
I was just like, Nadine, I'm a solicitor. And it was my first crime festival. I wasn't even thinking about being published. And I met you for the first time. And now look, fast forward to 2026 and your debut is being published. So how do you feel?
I feel amazing. I feel so excited. I'm sure you know this, like my to-do list is just insane. My to-do list is off the scale, and I'm trying to every now and then just step off the hamster wheel a little bit and just pause and take it in and enjoy it. Because like you say, 2017, that was my first ever festival, the year I met you.
Mine too.
And I'd only really just quite recently started taking writing seriously at that point. But yeah, so The Wise Witch of Orkney is the 3rd book I've written. It's the first book to get a publication deal. So this is just, I just want to try and enjoy it as well as get all the jobs done at the same time.
Does it feel slightly surreal that this moment is now here? Especially when I'm showing you the book and you've got your copy of your book and you were signing books yesterday.
That's wild. It's like there's Nadine and she is holding this object that's got my name on it. That's just like, yeah, it does. And yesterday I had the most incredible day. My publisher, I went to sign some books at Goldsborough and my publisher said, I'll just pop into a few other bookshops and give them a bit of a pitch, make sure your elevator pitch is all ready. See if they're interested, see if they fancy stocking it. And one of the bookshops was, that really big Foyles on Charing Cross Road.
Yeah.
And I've been in there, not even, it was like a couple of years ago or something, and went into the historical fiction section. And I don't know if you ever did this, like you figure out where your name would go. You'd be like, oh, my book would be there. And it just feels like this dream, doesn't it? It feels like this kind of, that will obviously never happen, even if you're doing everything that you can to make it happen. Anyway, I went in yesterday and I was like, oh, can I talk to you about my book, The Wise Witch of Orkney? She was like, oh, I've just put it on the shelf. And it was already there, like 3 copies facing outwards, which apparently that's the thing. If they put it like not that way on,
that is a thing.
Yeah, it's a
thing.
thing.
And if it's not facing outwards, feel no way about turning it around.
Just
we all do it. I don't know. No one's going to sit there and lie. We all do it.
So So it was like, how do I, how do you take it in? Like, I said to my friend, like, I want to bottle it. I want to bottle this
Yeah.
feeling, Do you do anything to kind of remember it and take it in?
I think when I think back to the Jigsaw Man coming out, I always associate it now with it was like delayed gratification because
Yeah.
it came out in lockdown. So
Oh,
it
of
came out
course.
smack
Yeah.
bang in the middle of lockdown. So I didn't all my all my joy came from seeing other people showing
Yeah.
pictures of the book because their copies have arrived at home, and I didn't see it until May. But it was only when I had when the second book came out, and it came out in the summer, and it came out there's no lockdown, and I went into the bookshops and it was there, and you're like that feeling, and it never gets old. It never gets old when you see your book on the
Oh,
shelf, especially when you said you'd be looking at the shelves thinking,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
where would my book be? And I'm Matheson, I'm right at the end of nearly at the end of the alphabet, so I'm like, well, I might be on the bottom shelf somewhere. You might find me if you look down. But then when you do actually see your book, you're in the shelf, and if you are face out, that's good. Even if you're not, even if it's just a spine out,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
good. Yeah. I can't really describe the feeling because it is a bit surreal, and there's always a bit of pride that
Yeah.
comes with it because like you did this, like
Yeah.
well I did this.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's kind of it's somehow taking that in and somehow realizing that this beautiful object is a result of all those, what's that, nearly 10 years of work that have gone
Yeah.
into that. And that was me, and that was, all those nights where you stay up writing words and you're like, oh, I think this is awful, maybe I should just give up, and all those times that you don't do other things, and you say,
Hmm.
no, I must just focus on the writing. All those years of everything that we put into it. It's like, well, this is like the culmination of all that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've quite got that in my head yet. I don't think I've
But
quite.
also as well, I think what it is as well is that there's so many times when you look at your book and you can probably go to a page and think, "Oh my god, I remember how I was feeling when I was
Yes.
writing this," and
Yeah.
I was thinking that I'm rubbish. I don't know why I'm bothering with this. Let me just go back and do something completely different. And then the fact you have the finished product in your hand, it also it does two things. It shows you that one, yes, I can do it. I
Yeah.
can write a book, but also it kind of symbolizes other people's faith in you and their recognition of your talent.
That's a really lovely way to look at it. That's really nice because you're absolutely right. And sometimes those scenes that you write and you think, oh, I'm going to have to change all this later. This is just
Yeah.
nonsense. This is just kind of a pressure
Yeah.
to tell me, when you're sort of telling yourself the story and you'll make it good later,
Mm.
those kind of scenes. And then sometimes you go back and read them and you're like, this is all right. I'm not sure this needs as much work as I thought it did. And and sometimes, I don't know, maybe that has a lot of power, that writing that's a little bit more raw and you didn't put quite as
Mm.
much kind of thought and craft into it somehow.
Yeah. It always goes back as well. It's always comes down to the stories you tell yourself. But we
Yeah.
tell ourselves so many stories. Like when I first met you, and
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
Tim McKinsey, and he's like, "What do you do?" And I went, "Oh, solicitor." He goes, "You write?" I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, you're a writer."
Yeah.
Say you're a writer. And you're like, "Can I? Should I?"
Yeah, you were really. I remember being really impressed. I know I've told you this before because you were doing pitch and agent at that Crime
Oh
Fest.
yeah, I was.
Yeah,
Mm.
with lovely Patricia, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, check them out! Like they're gonna go and actually talk about their work to literary agents, these big kind of scary people. I thought at that point, yeah, just it feeling like this whole world that I didn't have access to at that point.
Yeah, I don't even know how I ended up doing pitch and agent. No, I do know. I think I was doing the course, and I think our tutor, someone must have said,
Oh,
do pitch and agent.
yeah, yeah,
And then if anyone listening out there, and if you and you're right, and you get the opportunity to pitch to an agent, you should do it. Work on your elevator pitch, but do it because you
yeah.
just don't know what would happen.
Yeah. And also, even if it doesn't amount to anything that time, I just think the more you can practice and the more you can just get over that fear of putting yourself out there in any way,
Mm.
There's just such a massive barrier to start with, isn't there? It's just terrifying, the idea
Yeah.
of other people looking at your work and judging it. Um, that I think has really gone away over the years. Like, I'm much more comfortable now with the idea of something and what it can be. I don't feel
Mm.
like it needs to be the most brilliant, polished, wonderful thing in the world for me to feel proud of it now. It's whereas I think in the early days you just feel so scared about anyone seeing
Yeah.
that raw material, don't you?
Well, let's put you on the spot.
Okay.
Have you do your have you do can we talk we're like talking around your book. So Anna, would you like to tell the listeners about your debut novel, The Wise Witch of Orkney, which I'm holding up?
Oh, yes, I would. Thank you. Yeah, so The Wise Witch of Orkney tells the story of Elspet Balfour. So Elspet is a wise woman who lives in Orkney, and she is summoned to care for the pregnant Queen Anna at court in Edinburgh. But Elspeth refuses, so she is not interested at all. She just wants to have a quiet life, living at home. She's worked very hard to not have to do anything like that. But she is then accused of witchcraft by the Earl of Orkney, who is this horrible, tyrannical ruler of Orkney. And so she agrees to go to Edinburgh to win the protection of the Queen against this accusation from the Earl of Orkney. But while she's at court, so this is 1593, so the North Berwick witch trials were just 2 years before. So this is just when King James VI's obsession with killing witches is really starting to ramp up. And she's got to live disguised as a noblewoman at court. So she's got to live disguised as a lady in waiting. And then the Queen tells her that she's got this task for her to perform, so this impossible task. And Elspeth's kind of stuck between this accusation of witchcraft at home, this impossible task that she's got to fulfill, all at the same time as kind of living under the nose of this witch hunting king at court.
Okay, I've got some questions for you. So Anna, what came to you first? Was it the character, a specific scene, the overall premise, or something completely different?
Yeah, so I think what the thing that was okay, I really got under my skin and demanded to be written about was so Elspet is largely based on a real historical figure called
Mhm.
Alison Balfour. So she was an Orcadian woman who was executed for witchcraft in 1594. Um, but then there was this other woman that I was reading about called Margaret Livingston, who was the wife of the king's justice clerk until he died. He left her this massive fortune, so she was one of the wealthiest women in Scotland, and she became a lady in waiting for Queen Anna of Denmark for a while. And then she got married to the Earl of Orkney, this horrendous tyrant who everybody hated by all accounts. And there's no record of Alison and Margaret ever really having met. But I kind of imagined these two women, and I'm really interested in writing about friendships between women and relationships between women, and even at a time when women have very little explicit power, the ways that they can find to exert agency over their lives, particularly when they kind of form these friendships and work together. So it was actually imagining Elspet and or Alison as she was then, and Margaret kind of coming together and forming this friendship and wondering what that might look like.
You know, because you're writing historical fiction, what is your process like? Actually, I've got two questions. Like, what is your process like? But how do you stop yourself falling down the rabbit hole of research and getting completely
Yeah.
lost in it?
I don't know if I do. I think because I'm not a historian by background, like I
Yeah.
don't recommend writing historical fiction. It's way too hard. Like it's just, especially if
She
you
said.
it's literally like there was this one scene I was writing, like every page you've got things that you need to check, and it's like, oh, she gets up in the morning and she gets dressed. Would she get her dress out of a wardrobe? No, they didn't have wardrobes. She would have got her dress out of a chest. It's and there will without a doubt be mistakes in The Wise Witch of Orkney, because you don't know what you don't know, do you? So
No.
even having done, so much research and really immersed yourself in all of this source material, if you don't know what to look up, you'll just make assumptions. So I do really live in fear of those, like, well, actually, I think you'll find that
Well, did you?
it 93 there. You know, and that's actually, I shouldn't do a silly voice because that's fair enough. I will have got stuff wrong. But then also I think some of the most wonderful parts of the story can come from research. I think
Mm.
there are things that are more kind of weird and wonderful that I couldn't even have imagined that you find out from historical research, particularly. So yeah, but I don't know. I went down so many rabbit holes.
Oh, I love history. I mean, I have a history degree and I just love it. So
Really?
when,
I think I did
but
know that.
yeah, yeah,
Forgotten.
I do. But when but whenever I'm reading like historical fiction, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
And at
yeah,
least if you're doing something from, I don't know, you're writing something from like about 20 years ago, 30, because that is technically historical, but if it's 20
yeah.
years ago, 30
I heard
years
that the
ago,
other day. If you write about the 1990s, that's now considered historical fiction.
that pains me because I'm now history,
Yeah. Well,
apparently.
we're the same age, aren't we?
Yeah,
So
I'm a
we're both
footnote.
1977, aren't we? So
Yeah, my
yeah,
footnote.
we're officially really old.
But we could go back. But, oh my god! But we could go back tonight. We could find source material from 77, and you're
Yeah,
able to replicate the language,
yeah,
and you can kind of work out what someone would have been doing. If I always say, because I always use that example from my book, The Kill List. If someone was sitting on a wall in the 90s, what would they be doing? Well, I can go back. I can tell you what I
yeah,
would have been doing. Reading the
yeah.
newspaper, listening to your Walkman, whatever. But if you're going back to 15, what is it? I can't remember now.
1593.
1593, you don't know the language, do you?
No.
So how do you, I don't know, how do you get around that? You're just writing. 'Cause I think you
Yeah,
people can follow you. If long as the rest of the world is authentic, they can kind of
yeah.
turn a blind eye to mistakes, if you want to call them
Yeah, I
that.
think the thing with language particularly, so one of my characters would have spoken a dialect called Norn, which was the dialect that was spoken in Orkney at the time, which is really Scandinavian. Another character would have spoken Scots, but Scots as it was in 1593.
Mm,
So you couldn't write those characters, you know, speaking authentically because people wouldn't be able to understand them. So what
yeah,
I've done is I've written just in kind of language that we would understand today and then tried to put in a sort of smattering of those different words from those
yeah,
languages or dialects to try and give those characters a bit of a flavor of that time and place, but try and make it clear from context what those words mean,
mhm,
so that it'll look really different for every writer who tries to do that. But that's sort of the approach I took. There are some really lovely words in Norn and in Scots and Old Scots that are really sort of evocative, cool words that I thought, okay, I'll use those and just try and give a sense of these characters.
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. If I'd written it, not that I could have done, but if I'd even tried to write it in the authentic way that they would have spoken, no one would be able to understand it.
Okay. So Anna, which character surprised you the most whilst writing?
Yeah, I think that this was the baddie. So there's this big baddie character called Jamie Bog who is up to no good in the kirkyards of Sutherland. So he's really associated with the devil. Because that's the other thing about this time. Not only was the language very different, but just the way they saw the world was very different. Like
Mm,
they really did. The devil was a very real and present presence in their lives. You know, they thought if they messed up, they would go to hell and suffer
yeah,
eternal torment. You know, and I just think like we can't really understand what that, you know, that's terrifying. What would that do to you on a daily basis if that sort of threat was hanging over you? Um, but this guy is we sort of hear about him and he's quite shadowy, and he's kind of having these gatherings in the kirkyards and we're not really sure who he is or what that's all about. um, and because he's such, I think my natural tendency, I remember talking to you before about this actually, about writing
me.
baddies. Yeah, and you were saying about your baddies, you've always got to have like a backstory for them
Yeah,
and like
they
a
do.
reason why they turn out the way they do. Um, and I think I have a bit of a tendency to either write people that I absolutely love or people that are just awful and I hate them. And my agent, who's also like an absolutely amazing editor, is always like, I think these characters might need a little bit more nuance on it. But with this baddie, I sort of found myself, it kind of reminds me of some of the discourse around Heathcliff and Wuthering Heights at the moment, because I was like a really, one of those kids who was in love with Heathcliff. And I kind of found myself loving this baddie a
The
little bit.
baddie.
And he's awful. Like, he does some terrible, terrible, irredeemable things. But I sort of worked out this story around why he was the way he was, and ended up, with quite a lot of sympathy and thinking he was quite hot in a way. Probably should not admit that, because
no, it's fine. It just reminds me of whenever, like, I'm guaranteed I'd get someone who's read The Jigsaw Man, and they'll email and say, "Oh, I really like Olivia," and I'm like, "You're not supposed to. He's awful. He's a serial killer. He does not treat not just women, men, anyone who comes into his orbit. They are not treated well."
Yeah.
But they're like, "Oh no, we really like Olivier," and I'm like, I don't understand it, but there's something about the bad men.
Yeah, and I think, see, this is what I think about, like, everyone, all of the talk around Heathcliff at the moment. It's like, we're not insane. Like, we don't, want him to be our boyfriend. It's not like we really think. And I haven't seen the film, so this is purely based on the book. But it's fantasy, isn't it? It's imagination.
Yeah.
It's what you want to. Fantasy isn't what you want to happen. It's what you want to imagine happening. And so those really brilliant characters, like Olivier, like Heathcliff, like, not that I'm putting my book in the same bracket, that's not at all. But those, they're just fun. They're fun to imagine.
Yeah.
It's not that we want to go and have a cup of tea with them in real life, is it?
I would run a mile if I saw Olivier coming in my direction. But then, there's obviously something about those characters that appeal to people. There's a quality there. I was talking about, what was I talking? I can't remember where I was talking about it. And I was saying about how difficult it is to write someone's charisma or describe charisma or describe someone as being charming, because it's something that if you're charming, it's because I'm experiencing that charm. But it's hard for me to describe it because it could mean different things to so many different people.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So other people will probably read this book and think I'm a complete sicko for saying that, because he really is awful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying for a minute that he doesn't do things that are completely unforgivable, because he definitely does.
Yeah. But some people, they'll read and be like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So Anna, what's the most random fact you now know because of this book?
Okay, so a big section in the middle of the book takes place in the Highlands. So as Elspet's travelling down to court, she kind of stops at this place called Dunrobin Castle in Sutherland. And at that time, the Highlands were overrun with wolves. The landowners in the Highlands used to have wolf hunts several times a year to keep their numbers under control. And the wolf population was so bad in Sutherland that apparently the wolves would dig up the corpses in the kirkyards, and some of the communities in Sutherland took to burying their dead on islands off the coast because the wolves couldn't couldn't dig them up. So I thought that was quite a cool fact.
This is one of my favourite questions to ask on a coffee break episode, because you just don't know what you're going to get. But
it's one of those things that I really wanted. It's sort of in the plot. I managed to kind of make reference to it, but I thought that's so cool, and sort of wanted to make more of it than I did, if that makes sense. But I just really enjoyed that bit of the research.
See, that's always a challenge of research, is working out how much of the research you can actually put in the book and what is actually relevant to your plot, and what would just be filler.
Yeah, and what's not going to be like, hello, look at me and how clever I am, and how I did, and all the books I read, and now I'm going to distill them in this section here. Yeah, absolutely.
The info drop, because you can tell when someone's done when they've done a lot of research. It's just an info drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read. I can't. Well, no, I do know the book, the author. I'm not going to say it, but I remember reading this particular author's book, and I got to a section, and it was all about the research into the police and forensics. And I was like, "You've literally
Uh,
just put a whole week's of research into this chapter, and none of it was needed. You could have just said one sentence and
yeah,
kept it
they've
moving.
obviously looked at it and thought that I'm not gonna that week will not be wasted.
It will not
I'm
go to
getting
waste."
so many thousand words out of that week of work. If I take off my cardie, will that mess with your continuity? It's getting really hot in here.
No, I can always edit. Oh, don't worry.
I don't
I can
mind this
always
being in
edit.
it either. It's just
In that case, we'll keep it in. Take off your cardigan, Anna.
I just don't want to sit here sweating.
It,
It's a really
it's
sunny
life.
day today. It's nice.
Oh, this, as we recalled, the last couple of, well, all of February, it has been, I'm just going to say, pissing down with rain. It has been cold. And then today, I don't know, spring has come early. How long it will last, I do not know, but it's
Yeah, it's
very warm.
nice, isn't it? It's nice.
All right, it is. All right, Anna. So, was this book harder or easier to write than the other two books that you'd written prior?
Oh, well, they're all hard, aren't they? They're all really, really hard. Sorry, I don't mean to sound like I think I think this was actually harder, and the reason is a bit embarrassing, really, because I think when I first started writing about the witch trials, before I'd done all the research that I ended up doing, I think I was drawn to them because of that sort of macabre. I love gothic. I love, you
Mm,
know, sort of drawn to those ghoulish episodes in history. And then the more research I did, I realised that actually, yes, witches were or people that they believed were witches were persecuted because of this real and genuine fear of the devil acting through people here among us. But it was also people in power and kind of using that power and just women predominantly being in the wrong place at the wrong time and annoying the wrong person. And just the extent of the miscarriage of justice was rage inducing and unbelievably sad. And I don't really enjoy writing about sad things. It's not
mm,
something that I feel drawn to. And it's not a sad book. Like, I don't want to, it's very much about kind of friendship and women's relationships, and those moments where even though you're facing the most adverse circumstances, you find things to laugh about, and you find things to, there's a lot of fun in the book. But I think I sort of got a stupidly long way, like maybe half, 2/3 of the way through, and went, this is really sad. Like these particular things that have to happen here are sad, and there's no way of getting around that. And it's not even just hard to write. It's just, I don't, I don't love going there at all.
yeah. Oh, so how do you get through those moments? You just write through it.
Yeah. And do you know what as well?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, this might sound a bit cheesy, but I think the more I got to know what had happened to these women, and it was mainly women, particularly in Scotland, it was about 85% of the people who were killed for
Mm,
witchcraft were women. I felt this weight of responsibility on my shoulders to somehow do them justice in a very,
yeah.
very small way through this book. So I couldn't, pretend it wasn't awful. I couldn't make it less sad, because that would be, perpetuating that injustice again, and kind of making out that it wasn't as horrendous as it was. So I think I just sort of let myself feel it. And there's this one scene where my characters are they're faced with this situation. It's about 3/4 of the way through, and they really don't want something to happen because it's unbelievably sad. And they're having this conversation where they try and think of all of the different ways that they could potentially avoid this happening. And that was absolutely me. I kind of, after I'd finished that scene, I was like, that was me trying desperately to find a way to
Yeah.
avoid that thing happening, which kind of had to happen. So I think I just realized that, even if it was accidentally, I'd kind of stumbled into writing about something that I had a responsibility to, not not try and make it seem less awful than it actually was.
Mm. All right. So Anna, without giving away any spoilers, did the book end the way you originally planned, or did it surprise you too?
Yeah, I think it ended the way I'd planned ultimately, but I think I hadn't really worked out how it was going to get there, if that made sense, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
it
I
does.
think I know where I'm heading. I'm just not sure of the route to get there. So I think there were quite a lot
Mm.
of surprises for me on the way, but ultimately I think I knew where I wanted to
Yeah.
get to.
Okay. Did you ever hit the wall when writing The Wise Witch of Orkney, and how did you get past it?
So many times. So many times. Oh, I mean, so it's basically been, this period that I've been writing about, it's been like 6, 7 years. So I first wrote a crime novel set during this period, which didn't get picked up by a publisher, but provided a lot of the raw material and a lot of the
Yeah.
research that then also went into The Wise Witch of Orkney. So it just feels like it's been a really long process. I mean, that kind of all the edits that you go through,
Mm.
and I've been so lucky. My agent is an editor, and then the editor at my publisher is brilliant as well. And all of their suggestions for how to make it better have been spot on. And I've been like, yes, that's great, and I completely agree that will make the book better. But how do I do it? Like, how do I actually go away and so it's constantly sort of pushing yourself as a writer, isn't it, to make yourself achieve these things that you're being
Mm.
asked to do. And just the support of the people around me. I suppose I've got really lovely writing friends. I've got a really supportive family, and they're kind of used to the cycle now of me getting my edits, being like, oh yeah, this is brilliant. Then about a day later or 2 days later, I'll be like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I've got to just give up. And then gradually work out how it's going to happen, and then
Yeah.
move
It's a
forward.
process, isn't it? I mean, I've said it enough times on this on the podcast, the conversations, that
Yeah.
my process of dealing with my edits is the email comes in my inbox from my editor, and I always email and say, thank you so much. When do you want them back? I haven't opened anything. I haven't opened not one attachment
Yeah.
because I have to psych myself up. I have to prepare myself. And she'll say the X date, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I can do that. I still have no idea what I'm going to be doing. And then I leave it for about a week.
Do
I'm like,
you?
okay, now, yeah, I don't open those. It's like it's a mental thing. And
Why
then
don't
I'll
you
leave
open
it
it
for
though?
a week.
Is it
I
because you're
don't know.
worried? Because you're...
Yeah, you don't want anyone to say this is shit. Go away,
Oh,
start all over again. There's only one time I think it was the shadow car. I think it was with the shadow carver that I for whatever reason I was like, I can't leave it for a week, otherwise I'm looking at the amount of time it's going to take me,
yeah.
and I think I gave it like 2 days. I'm like, okay, I got 2 days. Oh, that wasn't so bad. I can do this.
That's
Everyone's
like
got their
you're
processes.
torturing yourself though, because like you say, it's never going to be as bad as you imagine, is it?
I know. Well, I don't see it as being torturous. I just sort of it just like, yeah, it can wait. It can wait
Yeah.
until I'm ready. Like now I'm ready.
Yeah.
But everyone, we all do our strange thing. We all have our strange little rituals.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so Anna, what are you working on next?
Yeah, so I'm still historical. I'm still Scottish, because they like to kind of you like once you've got a thing, it's
Brand
your
you.
thing, isn't it?
Mm.
And actually, it is a story I'm very, very excited about. It's dual timeline, and one of the
Oh, good luck.
timelines is I know. Have you
It's
done
a
dual
chill
time? Are you
down.
saying that from experience?
Oh,
Or you...
it just. I mean, I don't. The kill list is kind. It's
Oh,
not
of course.
really dual timelines, but it does do the. We
Yeah,
do
yeah,
present day and 90,
yeah.
95, 96. Suppose it technically is. It just sends a chill down my spine. I'm like, never again. And it wasn't even that. It wasn't like the whole book was like that.
Was
But
it the
yeah,
structuring of it and getting everything to sort of marry up that was
yeah. I
okay?
would say timelines are the bane of my life. So it is the structure, making sure if you say something in the present day about what happened 20 years ago, that in the timeline from 20 years ago, that it actually does make
Okay.
sense
Yeah,
and
yeah,
match
yeah.
up. So it was just making sure everything matches. And yeah, that was just like it's a lot. It's
See,
a
I've not
job.
started that stuff yet. I'm just like
Good
happily
luck.
on my 2 timelines.
Oh,
Yay.
be happy. Just be happy.
I haven't worried too much about how they
Just
intersect
ignore me.
yet. Yeah. I should then be like, what's the relationship between these two timelines? Oh, no, there isn't one. They're just gonna just gonna be two separate stories, and I'm not gonna worry about how they
Yeah,
intersect.
don't worry about it. Ignore everything I just said.
Oh no! So I'm sort of in the lovely bit, I think, before you get to the real nitty gritty of like roll
Yeah.
up your sleeves and make it make sense. I haven't got to that bit yet.
Is that the planning bit? I like the planning bit.
And I'm
I feel like
also
it's
I'm
my favourite
writing. I'm
bit of the
writing quite a
process.
lot. Yeah. Um I'm sort of getting to know the characters through writing them.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying it. There's some really cool characters that I'm enjoying getting to know.
That's so
It is
cool.
predominantly set in Orkney again, which is, I don't know why I can't stop writing about Orkney. I mean, I love it up there so much, but it means I've got to do another several research trips where
Oh,
it's an
what a
11.
shame.
I know. I do love it, and actually, even because it's an 11-hour drive from me to drive up to the very north of Scotland and then get the ferry across. Um, but even that, I don't actually mind that much. It's a bit mad, but it kind of, yeah, it sort of symbolises going somewhere different altogether for
Yeah.
me, I think. So, yeah, there's a lot of work to do, but it's exciting.
Okay. So Anna, what message or feeling do you hope readers take away from the Wise Witch of Orkney?
Yeah, I think that I mean I hope like first and foremost I hope they have a good time. I hope they
Mhm.
enjoy reading it and have fun, because I think that is one of the most important things with reading. I think so. I was really lucky. There's a brilliant book called Homegoing by a writer called Yar Jassy that I really, really love. And there's a quote from that book that I asked if I could use it as an epigraph, thinking there's no way that I'm going to get. And she gave me permission to use this quote as
Oh,
an
that's
epigraph
nice.
at the beginning of the book. And it's basically a quote about, it's kind of about how, history is written by the victors. So
Yeah.
she's talking about, when you study history, you must look at whose story is missing and what voices are missing, and think about why the historical record was recorded as it was, and it was because of the reasons of the people in power and their administrators, and kind of what they wanted to be set down as historical
Mm.
fact. And I think it's been a real journey for me to understand that history is really not that simple, and actually a lot of history happens in the gaps. Um,
Yeah.
happens in the gaps, and also reading between the lines. It's not even just the
Yeah.
gaps. The witch trials are full of historical facts, like I saw that woman in the kirkyard and she transformed from a human form into the form of a cat, and that woman looked at my cat looked at my cow, and the next day my cow was cursed and had stopped producing milk. And far be it from me to say what's possible and what's not possible, but I think most people nowadays would agree that that's not
Mhm.
factual. But that is what's recorded as fact in those records. So yeah, that there's more to history than just what we might have been taught
Yeah.
at face value, I think.
All right. So Anna, finally to end our coffee break, the final three, as I like to call them,
Okay.
early starts or early starts or all nighters. So, do you start writing first thing, or are you just pushing through?
Yeah, I think because I get up quite early, but I tend to not write early, which I think I
Mm.
might be going wrong there. Do you write first thing when you get up?
I no, I'm
No.
getting up at like 5 these days. I'm not writing at
Right,
5.
okay.
I'm out and I'm back, and I probably don't. I think the earliest I'm probably writing might be about 8, half 8.
Okay. That's still really good though.
I'm I'm trying to get all my admin nonsense stuff done out of the way
Is that what you
when
do
no
first?
yeah, I say when no one replies back to you, because no one's replying back to you at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. They're not, because they're in bed.
Yeah, I do, but I tend to like go out and like go for a swim or go for a run first thing. And then and lately I've been sort of pushing writing back further and further. Sometimes I don't
Yeah.
even start until the evening, which I don't love. But yes, it would definitely be late nights writing over early mornings for me, I think.
Okay. So, do you write in silence, or is there something on in the background?
Do you know, I was thinking about this the other day. Complete silence. I've always written in complete silence, but I was talking to someone who writes with music on, and she was saying it really helps with kind of atmosphere. And so I
Yeah.
might try. I might give a bit of music a go,
Give it a go.
see if it makes a
Well,
difference.
also, because a lot of people, when they answer this question, if they say something on in the background, if it's music, they say it can't have words. Whereas
Okay.
I can have anything.
Do
Like
you?
I don't, yeah, I don't. My brain doesn't take it on. It's there. I
Mhm.
suppose maybe it's kind of like white noise. It's there, but I don't absorb the
Do you
lyrics
put
or
on
anything.
something that's going to sort of match the atmosphere of what you're writing, or is it just completely unrelated?
No, it's completely unrelated. It
Mm.
used in the early days, only in the early days, but I remember writing, I can't remember which book it was, and it was like a chase. There was a chase scene going on, and I'm putting Hans Zimmer on, so I just put a lot
Yeah.
of Hans Zimmer on
Oh,
at that
nice.
moment. But now I have a playlist, but it's so random. It could be Prince one minute, and then it's the Verve the next, then it's something classical, and then it's I don't
Do
know.
you think it affects what you
Mm,
write? Do you think it finds its way into?
mm, I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think so. Unless if I'm maybe if the characters are two characters having a conversation about music, and all of a sudden you might someone suddenly the dog's called Bowie after
Yeah.
David Bowie, then that's probably what happens. But it won't be changing
Isn't there
the
a story
entire
about
scene.
one of Stephen King's books? He just listened to Mambo Number Five on repeat. Was that?
I don't know.
I
I'll
don't know
have to
which book
find
it
out.
was. I think there was something like his wife got so fed up, which you would, wouldn't you? Like, I don't really like that
Yeah,
song.
it's just
Um,
just on
yeah, but
repeat.
I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I read that he just listened to it over and over again, and that sort of became like almost he was then immersing himself in the world of the book by putting
Yeah,
that
I can
song
get
on. It
that.
was like one of those things.
Yeah, I can see that. I can. All right. So finally, Anna, which book, film, show, or video game do you recommend?
Okay, so I was going to go with something really sensible and related to the Wise Witch of Orkney.
We don't want sensible.
Then I finished in like 24 hours Small Profits. Have you watched Small Profits yet?
Oh no, no, I haven't. But someone else
No.
recommended that.
Yeah. So we've literally just binged it in a. We watched most of it one evening and then like had to go to bed. We were so tired, but then watched the last two episodes over with our
Yeah.
lunch the next day. It is absolutely brilliant. It's really, really beautiful TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will we'll put small profits in the description, in the show notes, so people know. Well, that just leaves me, Anna Caig, to say thank you so much for joining me for a coffee break. And I'm gonna hold up the Wise Witch of
Oh,
Orkney.
yay.
And I
And
wish you
can I
all the
do?
success in the world. Of course
Yay,
you
I've
can.
done a screenshot.
If you're
Thank
listening
you so
today
much.
on the
Lovely.
20, hold on, what date is it coming out? Today's the 26th. Yeah, the
Yeah.
26th of February. Go and pick up your copy for Anna straight away.
We've come a long way since that. When I
We
first met
have.
Nadine and I saw this like friendly looking lady with a free seat next to her and went over and said, can I sit with you?
But of course, of course. Now look at us. No,
Oh,
that is. I love these moments. I love these moments because it's a journey. It's always a journey, and it's nice seeing the
yeah.
people who have been with you along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at what you've achieved, Nadine. It's absolutely
Oh,
amazing.
thank you. I feel like we should end it. It's just got to go on
Yeah.
a bit of a like, this is
We're
your
both
life.
just going to start crying.